Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our preview of the Project Accounting, Accounts Receivable Billing, and Procurement Work Centers. Work Centers are a new feature that Cardinal will roll out as part of our upgrade project. Thank you for attending. Okay, so here's our agenda for today. We're going to start with a few introductions, and then I'm going to give you a quick overview of the upgrade project and discuss the session objectives. I'm then going to turn it over to our finance team, who will show you several of the new work centers. I'll fill you in on what you can expect in the next few months, and we'll end with any last-minute questions you might have. So we have several speakers today, including Tony Spears, our project accounting lead, Jens Jorgensen, our accounts receivable lead, and Shravanti Gandhi, our deputy finance lead. My name is Dana Smith, and Monica and I are the change leads here at Cardinal, and we'll be facilitating this session. So let me tell you a little bit about the PUM upgrade project. The Cardinal team is enhancing both FIN and HCM, upgrading these applications to the latest PeopleSoft releases. We started the project in September 2025, and we plan to go live with the upgraded system in September 2026. The upgrade includes over 1,400 enhancements aimed at improving the user experience and overall system functionality. Today, you will see two of the biggest enhancements, work centers and the move from classic to fluid. So first, let's talk about work centers. A work center serves as a centralized hub for users to access key module components and is tailored to Cardinal system roles. Think of it as a one-stop shop for doing your daily tasks. It consolidates reports, queries, tasks, and relevant links into a single workspace. And the My Work section highlights where user action is needed. You'll learn much more about work centers from the finance team. Now let's talk about our move from classic to fluid. On this slide, you see the screen you are used to seeing when you access Cardinal Financials. It's a very desktop-centric design that relies on traditional multi-level menu trees. With the PUM upgrade, PeopleSoft Classic will become a thing of the past. The new look is PeopleSoft Fluid, a modern and responsive user interface designed to adapt across devices using tiles and flexible layouts. Our demonstrations today will feature the new fluid design. So today we are giving you all an exclusive first look at work centers. We'll use your feedback and insights to help inform our communication and training strategy to our larger Cardinal audience. We're also hoping you'll be excited about what you see today and will take back what you learn and share with your agency colleagues. So feel free to share this presentation deck or the recording with folks back at the office. So we know that virtual sessions are a challenge as there are often many distractions, and let's be real, this is a long session. But we really hope you'll be able to stay focused. We really value your feedback, and we hope you will ask questions, because if you're thinking it, somebody else on the line probably is too. And we really want to emphasize that we would love for you to take our post-session survey. Not only will we be asking you for feedback, but we're going to give you the opportunity in that survey to let us know if there are any links, reports, or queries that you think need to be added to any of the work centers. I'm now going to turn it over to Tony, who will provide a walkthrough and demonstration of the work centers in the project accounting module.
Thanks, Dana. So I just wanted to say, before we get started, I wanted to pause for a moment and acknowledge who's in the room today and why you're here. Everyone invited in the session was selected intentionally by these teams, the PA team, the AR team, and the purchasing teams. You were invited because of the roles that you played within your agency as administrators, subject matter experts, and also as the people that others go to when they have questions or need support. You were also selected specifically because of your practical knowledge of how VDOT uses Cardinal. And as you know, VDOT uses more functionality than your typical agency. Over the years, for me anyway, you've opened tickets, asked questions, and helped the Cardinal team, and me specifically, identify root causes early before issues became widespread. And on a personal note, you have challenged me, and that's in a good way, and helped me get up to speed in project accounting. We've talked many times about see something, say something, and you guys really have. So I do appreciate that, and thank you. Now, I want to briefly reframe what today is. I know you've already heard from Dana from what today is, but what we're going to see today is a preview of the WorkCenter. And the WorkCenter is really the centerpiece of the upgrade as it relates to project accounting. Also know that this is not final. What you see reflects where we are today, and it's intentionally being shared early so that we can get your feedback. Getting your feedback on usability and also how we may approach rollout. Again, not because everything is complete or locked in. We're still working on the work centers and their design. So as you watch today, we're not expecting you to memorize steps or learn every detail. Instead, we'd like for you to focus on a few things. What feels easy to use, what makes sense right away on the WorkCenter functionality, what might feel confusing, and what you think you would need for the most support or training. Also note, training, job aids, and walkthroughs will be coming later. Today is simply about awareness, context, and early feedback. I also want to set the expectation on scope. Today's focus is specifically about the work centers, and it is intentionally narrow. We're focusing on the work centers so we can explain it clearly, hopefully show it thoughtfully, and gather meaningful feedback without trying to cover everything at once. As we walk through the work centers, we'll try to be intentional and structured. And keep in mind, while you see the work centers, where things live, how things are grouped, and specifically for this demonstration, how this replaces navigation and not replacing functionality. Okay, so now we'd like to go ahead and get into the system. I'm going to log in as Nicole, and the first thing you'll see is the landing page. And again, everything on this page looks familiar, should look familiar to you from a caption standpoint, but now you see the tiles. This is one of the biggest changes that you'll see. We go away from links to tiles. So we'll go ahead and go into Cardinal Financials using the tile. And again, the landing page here will be your financials homepage. And everything here should look familiar to you from a label standpoint, but now they're in tiles. Before we get to the work centers, I do want to show you a few things. The location of the menu is now not on the left side. The menu you access through the sidebar. All of your menu items are still in the same place. The new environment allows you to customize a little bit. If you didn't know which navigation path you needed to use, you can actually click the gear icon. Let's say I want to change to alphabetical, and now my menu should change so that I can find things maybe easier if you're not used to your normal navigation. So you see now all of your access, and this is role driven. So not everyone will see all these or access. This will be dependent on your particular role. I'm going to go ahead and change this back to standard, and you'll see the menu has gone back to standard. The other options you have recently viewed, so pages that you go to often, favorites that you've set are in this short bar menu, as well as they are here on your home page. So frequently used pages are here, favorites are here, and then you're back onto your homepage. So we're going to go ahead and look at the Projects Work Center first. The Projects Work Center, and like all work centers, you'll see many work centers, but the theme of all of them is about the same. It's a central hub for the day-to-day tasks, and it's role-based. So, for example, the project manager role, you would see the Project Work Center, and the Work Center is divided by categories. So for the Project Work Center, we have what we call links And links are shortcut navigation. You know, if we go to the links, project costing, you'll have defined project general information, defined project activities, project budgets. These links are favorites or speed navigations to the transactions that you perform on a daily basis. The other links and then queries. So on queries, and we have selected the most run and must run queries in your module. The recurring queries that you run for compliance or for audit or even for reconciliation would show in the queries link. And anything that you run most frequently would also show in the queries. It's a quick navigation all in one place. The next category, reports and process similar to queries. Recurring must run and most run reports should show in this category. Project accounting has a second work center. We have one for projects and we have one for contracts. Contracts work center, everything that applies to the project work center applies to contracts, but contracts has one additional subcategory, and we call that my work. And it'll make more sense when we actually see it, but my work is your to-do list. If you have projects on hold, if you have billing plans that didn't get billed, the my work section will show some of those exceptions so that you can view them all in summary and then take care of them from the work center. Links, queries, and reports are all the same. One of the nice features of the My Work area is filters. As you can see here, the My Work area provides a summary and shows all the rows or items that fall in a particular category for, in this case, past due billing events, plans on hold, or invalid bill plans. Contracts in each category will show in this list, and then we have a small menu or related actions menus. You can see there, open contract or open bill plan directly from the work center and from the line item that you need to review. I mentioned filters. So one of the nice things about work centers is if you notice the bill plans on hold, we have 2,400 bill plans on hold. You may not want to see all of those, and you may want to filter into specific rows. So the filters allow you to add additional conditions. You can say, I only want to see the contracts for this customer, or I only want to see the contracts that Ellie has put on hold. You can set filters in two ways. The nice thing about it is you can set permanent filters. So if you're a manager and you want to see all the contracts on hold, you can leave the filter open. But if you only want to review the contracts that you have on hold, you can set a permanent filter so that every time you come to the work center, that filter will get applied and you will only see the items that you have set filter for. The other nice thing is you can also set a temporary filter. Let's say you're a manager and you want to see everybody, then you don't have a permanent filter, but at that point you want to see specifically all of the contracts that are on hold for a particular customer. Nicole, maybe you want to see everything for Hampton Roads. So you could set a temporary filter so that you can then drill down specifically and view only those items that are related to your filter. We'll see that when we do the demo, and hopefully it'll make more sense. Let's get that into Cardinal. Okay, so we talked about what fluid looks like. Fluid is tiles and quick navigations instead of links. All of the menu items that you have currently should still be available, and you can navigate to them through the menu. But today's session is really about work centers. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Projects Work Center, and it's going to take us into the Projects Work Center. And you notice on the left are the subcategories we talked about: links, queries, and reports. By default, the defined project general information will open. And what you'll notice is that although everything looks very familiar, all the fields are here, one change is that instead of one vertical column for all of your keys, your search keys, they've now used two columns. So instead of the project field being below business unit, it's now to the right of it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a project. These pages should look very familiar to you. The fields are all there. They just look new in the fluid way instead of the classic way. The tabs are still up here as well. So we can tab through like we normally do today through each of these tabs. We haven't removed any functionality. Project distribution, these are processed the same way. I'm still in the work center. So if I click back on the work center, it takes me back to the search page. This little vertical equal sign, if you need more real estate, you can click that and open up your window a little bit more. We have project budgets. The other links will get you to Process Monitor and Report Manager. The next category is queries. Queries we talked about are most run and must run. So these are project queries. One thing that you will notice under queries, today when you go to query, you search the query by the query name. So you would put, for project, you would put V_PA and do a search for all the queries. Whereas the WorkCenter actually lists the queries by their description. And again, if you click on one of the queries, it takes you straight to query and you have the same query that you would normally have in a normal navigation. These were just selected as the most frequent and most needed queries. All of the queries are still available under Query Viewer. Similar concept. All of the queries that exist are still here. You can still get to them through the normal navigation or the quick link in the WorkCenter, and your favorite queries still exist as well. And now you can get to them through the WorkCenter. I went back to the home page, and now I want to show you the Contracts WorkCenter. We click on the Contracts WorkCenter link, and notice the Contracts WorkCenter has the My Work section with billing exceptions and revenue exceptions. These are standard queries that will show you items that you might need to take care of that you normally wouldn't look at easy. You would run a query, for example, plans on hold. We have a query for that, but you can run the plans on hold. These numbers associated with each of these categories shows you the number of rows that exist for each of these items. The invalid bill plans, we don't have any invalid bill plans. Truth be told, I had to mess with the data in order to try and create invalid bill plans so we'd have numbers. But that would be things like you have a contract with an invalid customer, or you have a customer that doesn't have an address. Anything that would prevent the contract from going to billing would show up here. This is a really good thing at a quick visual that if someone perhaps inactivated a customer that you didn't know that you put on a contract, it would show up here as an invalid bill plan. Past due billing events, every now and then we have billing events and or revenue events that didn't process. And the question is, why didn't they process? So this shows you a quick way to see those past due billing or revenue events that are sitting out there that we would need to look at and determine why they didn't bill. The plans on hold, we have 2,400 of these. And let me talk about the filters here for a minute. I don't want to see 2,400 contracts on hold. Now, this does give you reason to ask, why would I have 2,400? And that's a separate issue on maybe we need to clean that up a little bit. But if I click this gear icon up here on the top left, we can go into filters and I can set a permanent filter. So plans on hold. Let's say I want to see only the plans on hold that are related to me. I would put in the hold user because I just want to see mine. Push done, and now the plans on hold only show 3. So again, this is a personal filter. So these are the 3 contracts that I personally have put on hold. We're going to go back to edit filter, plans on hold, and I'm going to remove that. So maybe Terrell, you want to see all of the contracts that are on hold, or you may want to filter your contracts on the federal customer. You can select the customer as well. But let's say you're going to leave your permanent filter to all. You can come here and say, well, you know what, for this time, you can set a filter, and this is a temporary filter for just this time. Say you just want to see the contracts that you have on hold. So you would put your username in the hold user, push done. Now notice the number didn't change because we didn't change the permanent filter. We only changed the temporary filter. So now I'm only seeing 114 rows, and these are all being put on hold by Terrell. So Terrell, you have some work to do. You've got 114 contracts you have on hold. So that's the permanent filter and a temporary filter. And you can always go in and remove them at any time and get the full picture of all of the My Work exceptions. Links, queries, and reports are very similar to the Project Work Center. The links associated to the Contracts Work Center would be define general information, contract inquiry, and then we also have federal contract setup items. This is driven by the role. So if you don't have permissions to create any federal contract items, then you won't see this category. And because you are working with contracts, most likely you have projects as well. So you would see the projects links here as well as on the Projects Work Center. You also deal with billing. And again, the other links are common, gets you to the Process Monitor and Report Manager. If we go into a contract, we can see, again, similar to projects, that the pages should look very familiar to you, but they are now in a fluid display. So this is the contract header. Go to the contract lines. You see, again, the tabs are just in a fluid display. Remember, we're not losing any functionality. We are just gaining a fast way in the work centers to navigate to these pages. So that's the demo.
We're going to turn it over to Jens. He's going to go review billing work centers.
Morning, everyone. I want to also echo Tony's comments from before to thank everyone for joining and providing feedback. It's much appreciated. Some of what I'm going to say is going to be a little bit redundant in the fact that all of the work centers have similar work and feel, but I think it's helpful just to see it from a billing perspective. We'll start with the first slide here. The billing work center is a central hub for hopefully all or most of, if not all, of what you need on a daily basis. There are some new changes that Tony mentioned, and there's nothing different from the billing work center from the contracts work centers. But there is the My Work section, which we'll show in the demo. Is a kind of a to-do list, a way of like pointing things out quickly. There's links, just like the other work centers. We're hopeful that the majority of the menu paths that you need to go to will be within the billing work centers and the accounts receivable work centers, queries, and then also reports and processes. With the My Work area, was mentioned here, we'll show more in the demo. There are a number of My Work pagelets. We'll show it in the demo. There are two sets of filters that we can deal with. One is a permanent filter. It will come when you guys open your work center for the first time. You'll have filters already created that will be more at a business unit level. So you'll have a VDOT business unit, but they can be modified by the end user as shown here with the edit filters. When you make a change to the edit filters, that will stay with it until it gets changed back. So you log out, you come back, it's still going to be there. So set it and forget it. But the temporary filters is more if you're drilling in on what you're seeing from your global filter. Think of it kind of like your a search page on a regular component. But that temporary filter is just that temporary. When you come back in the next time, it won't be there. So we'll go into the system here. So here coming in from portal, but then you come to the financials and you'll be able to see the different work centers. So we're going to be looking at the billing work center. So as it opens up, you see the My Work pagelets. We have grouplets that have invoices not finalized and invoices with open balance, as well as a section for exceptions. So invoices not finalized shows you all of your invoices that are not finalized, that are not in a canceled status. So a couple of things here, you can come in, you'll see that the counter of what's out there, similar as what was shown before. You can come in and edit your filters here. Just a side note, billing works in My Work pagelets. In most cases, there's a filter per My Work pagelet, and billing, there's two main filters, but really one filter goes across all My Work pagelets. So when you change the BI filter, it will be for most of, not all of the My Work pagelets. And here you could come in and say you just were concerned about property damage. You can come in here and change that. And as you do that, and you hit done and done again, and I didn't show this before, but at first it was 59 and now it's down to 22. Another nice feature here is the ability to see additional information and actually make changes on these invoices not finalized directly from here. Again, these invoices can be found in the links as well, obviously, but here they can come and it pops up a page if you click on here and you can see the work center still in the background. And we can see, well, there's this invoice that's not finalized and it's in a ready status. You can come in here and make changes. You could actually come in here and cancel the invoice and save it. So that the counter doesn't automatically update on those, but when you hit the refresh, it'll take that now out of your list. So you can work these as you right from the My Work pagelet here. Invoices with an open balance, that's showing all invoices that have an open AR balance. So a little bit of a tie-in with accounts receivable. From here, I'm going to show you a little bit of a change of like the temporary filter here. And say you were looking for an invoice and you knew the customer and they said it was over $25,000. So here you can do this on a one-time basis.
As Jens is doing some of these things, we do want to let y'all know that we are in a development environment. So you can see that by the green Cardinal. And we have not even started our system test yet. So when we talk about preview sessions, these are truly previews. You are seeing cutting edge, and we apologize for any missteps, but it's the nature of the environment. And we wanted to get as much feedback early on in the process as possible.
Yep, thanks, Julie. What actually happened there is you can see now the amounts are all over 25,000. The counter over here is now 105 rows. The counter over here still stays with the total amount, but because it is just a temporary filter, it's just showing that in the grid here. The other My Work section are more for exceptions, not things that we have a lot of, but I showed a couple different flavors of this. Is that when you open up your work center and you see here counters, so there's a counter for every My Work pagelet. If there are no billing interface errors or no worksheet errors, you will see no counter. So you know that you don't have to go to it. But when there is a counter, you'll see it here. And during regular day, you will not see anything there. But when one pops up, this is something that points to you right away that you can see and take action on. So invoices and error statuses would automatically show. So that's My Work pagelets. As Tony mentioned as well, we also have links. And real quick, I'll reverse a little bit back here to the My Work pagelets. These are all role driven. So you may not see all of the My Work pagelets that we're showing today, but they are driven by the roles that you're granted. And it's no different for links. If you see it in the menu bar over here, you'll see it in the links over here. But if you don't see it in the menu bar today, you won't be seeing it here. So all driven off of security. We've split our links into 4 different groups: maintain and receive bills, generate invoices and correct errors, customer and contact. So if you need to add a customer or activate a customer or add customer conversations, that'd be in the customer contacts, and then our other links. So here again, as Tony mentioned, the pages have the same functionality, but they do look and feel a little bit different in a more of a fluid mode. But same search fields that you have currently today, and you're able to open up things as you would today. In the maintain receive bills, we have standard billing, view supporting documents, copy single bill, adjust entire bill, review invoices, review entries by journal and summary. I believe these are all being shared with you guys in a different document, so I won't go through all of them, but I'll just kind of show them at a high level. And then on the other links we have, this is similar between all work centers, where you'll see process monitor and report manager.
So that survey that Dana had pointed out at the beginning of the session, we will be asking you to take a look at the links that we thought were best use, just like we talked about. And then, like Jen said, you can take a peek and see if there are any more links or most frequently run queries, or reports that you want to add to the list. So keep that in mind as you're taking a look whenever we give you that information.
So, and Tony mentioned this as well, there's different fluid options here to be able to see more of the page, as well as you're able to collapse and expand the folder structure over here as needed. Queries, we show Query Manager here. You'll be seeing Query Viewer, where you can actually go in and, like you do today, you see your My Favorite Queries, search any query that you have today, it will be there. But there also are a list of queries that we have defined to show here. And as Tony mentioned, it's no longer the query name, as you see here, but it's the description that will show up on the folder of billing queries and all of the different work centers. And then the final piece of the billing work center are reports and processes, very similar to the links, but more on the reporting and processing types of transactions. So as you can see, we don't have that many reports and processing because most of this is being done through batch. And that's all from a billing work center perspective. Are there any questions?
We do have a
Okay.
question, Jen.
All right.
Hi, my question is for, I think under my work, you had the invoices and exceptions.
Yes.
Is the user able to export that listing to Excel?
From here,
Like there you have 2,400. Are they able to export that?
it is on most fluid grids, but on this, it does not seem possible. If we can look into that a little bit more, that's a great question. Because I could see how that would be helpful.
And then the other question I had, we have the districts and central office, and the ART might have another way of doing this. But is there a way that you could filter to just see by responsible org or district or department ID?
Actually, at the department ID level, but this is a good question. Right now, what we're looking at is more at the business unit level. We're hopeful here is that maybe one of the delivered filter values would be possible for that. Right now, there's bill source or billing specialist, but the department, given that it's at the distribution level and can be multiple for any given invoice, is not delivered. Can you see the lists here? Or can you see any that may be useful?
Maybe billing specialist might be useful for the ART. LaShawn might be able to chime in. Yeah, billing specialist probably be it.
LaShawn, please feel free to come off mute.
So I guess my main question is all these filters reliant on, the access or permissions they got in Cardinal? So would that maybe affect what they're seeing here? Because different responsibilities within inside the systems. My first concern was seeing that these exceptions was pulling up, and I realized you're using Ed's credentials, and that's possibly why it's showing up there. But on the district level, they don't necessarily see that part. So I'm kind of wondering, how does that work? And that might alleviate that whole invoices with open balance thing that we're looking at.
So the invoices with open balances, for security purposes, folks that have access to see an invoice in the regular menu path will see it here unless we filter for it.
Okay.
As the exceptions go for Ed, each My Work pagelet is governed by security of your role. So if users don't have access to do the combo edit updates, they won't see this My Work pagelet. But for the actual invoices, the only way to actually parse those out, so you only look at the ones that you want to look at, that'd be actually by filter.
So there's no way for us to get a filter by district or like even department. I know Sharice said billing specialist, but that changes so frequently that I don't feel that's the best answer.
So Lashan, this is Shravanti. So when I spoke with Nicole regarding what options to choose and what will be done at the district level, I have been told that it goes by bill source, like certain property damage bills and miscellaneous bills are handled at the district level, whereas project and other bill sources are handled at the central level. So we thought you could limit it by bill source, but it all depends on how you operate, considering we cannot filter by at the department level.
And Nicole does have her hand up, so she might want to weigh in.
Okay, I think that's definitely something to think about. I think my original question when I chimed in was to get some clarity on exactly how everything is populated in the My Work menu. And I think in piecing everything together, that in this module and also in contracts, that the default is for visibility to everything in business unit 50100 for anybody who has sufficient security access within Cardinal. Is that a correct statement?
It is correct, Nicole.
Okay. Would you mind bringing up that filter menu again, just so we could see what the defaults are, what's currently available on there? Thinking aloud, I'm just wondering if there's any value to collector to at least give us an idea of a name, maybe collection code, so we might have an ability to focus on things that have already been flipped to in-house. Is that possible? Would that be helpful? And I guess that's a two-part question for Cardinal and for both Cardinal and LaShawn.
So
Okay.
Nicole, what you're seeing now is at the billing level. Probably you could do that at the item level. So you could definitely populate the collector code and limit the display based on the collector. But since you are the one that is displayed is at the billing level, you don't have the option to choose collector. But then the other feature we have is you can select multiple bill sources.
And the same would go for billing specialists. I know that they switched quite a bit. But if you were, say, Fredericksburg, you could put all Fredericksburg, you could put an in list there as well.
Yeah, some of the fields in here support in-list, which means you can go and select multiple values for that field, and that the data will be displayed based on the selection.
Okay, so let's just use Fredericksburg for an example, and then I'm just trying to make sure I got my head wrapped around this. Fredericksburg logs in and they see invoices with open balances. They're going to see it across the agency, right? Unless their filters are just for them.
And
I'm
what
sorry.
they can do is they can put that in their permanent filter if that's helpful. But as you're pointing out, if they start it and then they put it in their permanent filter and then the bill moves to something else.
Well, if, say, for example, you went at billing specialists and you put all of Fredericksburg's billing specialists in an in list in a permanent filter, when they come back in, that's what they're gonna see every single time.
Every single time.
Good question. So when you create the bill, are you changing that specific bill or are you changing multiple bills for the billing specialist and the bill source? Or once it's sent for bill, then it moves to items and then maybe we take it up in the AR work center?
Well, normally the billing specialist is identified at the customer level. And so as soon as you pick up the customer, it should default in when they actually doing the bill. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to navigate how these permanent filters, which is scaring me.
Us too.
Yeah, they are scaring me because I mean, I'm thinking as a district person, like, how do I navigate that? And what scares me is how is the central office going to get all these kind of questions coming in on our end and how to navigate that, because we're used to seeing everything, but they're not. And I just, got fears of that.
You mentioned they're not used to seeing everything because they have access to everything.
They have access, but
It's just not right in their face, right as they open
correct.
up.
I mean, I just don't want someone in Culpeper to think that they got 2,441 open invoices. That's
Quite honestly, that's also was our concern too. And that we vacillated on, do we even show the count? Because we can take that away as well. But
right.
we want to at least say, like, here's the full list and then allow for, and we've also talked about, like, how do we call it? It's not really a permanent filter. We should call it a default filter instead, because
Okay.
it changed. So even though you start off with that in list, it could change as you have people coming in or out of a given area.
But this is good feedback, right? Because
it's
we're going to
great
be
feedback, yeah.
creating new training objects for all of this. and taking into account your worries about how it will be used is really good feedback as we go developing our planned
Yeah.
training, because we're planning on having, of course, a job aid and a web-based training perhaps for folks to do. So that's really good feedback, I think.
Jens, do you mind clicking on details?
Sure.
Just want to make sure if you're seeing that export icon.
Up here.
Yeah.
And real quick, Tony has found the export icon in contracts for going to Excel. We'll continue to look in and we'll report back on that. Okay, if there's no more questions, Cervante is going to cover the AR Work Center.
Good morning, everyone. As most of you know, I am Shravanti Gandhi. I previously served as the AR lead, but now I have transitioned to a new role as Finance Deputy Lead. Today, I will be presenting Accounts Receivable Work Center and Procurement Work Center. As Tony and Jens alluded, this new feature is to keep you all in one screen as much as possible. I will now show you how the one-stop shop concept applies to Accounts Receivable Work Center. The Accounts Receivable Work Center can be accessed by fund receipt users and AR specialists. Just like you have seen in Billing Work Center, Accounts Receivable Work Center also offers 4 different sections, starting with My Work section, which will be your to-do list, and it is controlled based on the roles you have got. And what that means is fund receipts user will see different items than an accounts receivable specialist. Coming to links, as you have already seen with other work centers, links provides direct access to all the commonly used pages. So we have identified pages based on the business process, and we have grouped it at the functional area level and added to the links section. And queries and reports are similar to links. You'll be able to see most commonly used queries and most commonly used reports within those sections. In the next slide, the focus is more on My Work area itself. Consider My Work section as the brain of the work center. The reason I say is it kickstarts your day, right? So you have the list right over there that is pending your attention. So you know what to work on, and you can start working on those and then knock it off as that needs to be. The other feature that it offers is the counter next to each My Work page gets dropped as in when you take action on the particular item, and the counter operates based on the refresh icon that is available on the Work Center. So as and when you complete a process or you process a payment, you will be able to see that the counter gets updated. The other good feature here is it offers smart filtering options, just like Jens and Tony showed you. It provides 2 different options to go with the filters. And then you have 2 options to use filters. If you have a long list of data in your My Work section, and if you want to limit based on a certain criteria, then you can either choose to go with the default filters that gets saved each and every time you make updates, and also further refine your search by setting up temporary filters. Let's take a look directly on how it looks in the AR Work Center. So this is how the Accounts Receivable Work Center looks, starting with My Work. My Work section is expanded, and you will see the links, queries, and report section in collapsed status. So if you have to go into the links, you have to expand it. Coming back to the My Work section, starting with conversations to review. So this particular pagelet is useful if you have any follow-ups with the customers, and if you have to review based on a customer or a facility and whatnot. If you want to do any follow-ups, we thought this would be a better page for you to go and take action. Currently, I think the customer conversations are not set to complete. So once you log into your work center, initially you will see large volume of data because we don't have a business process to complete any conversation. So this is where you need your filtering option would kick in. So if you go to this gear icon and do the edit filters for the conversations to review, if you see, I have limited the filter options to 1 customer ID, and that's why I see less data. But if had I saved without a customer ID, then I will see around 4,000 rows of customer conversations And I don't think you want to go over that list. And I hope based on your business process, you would either prefer to see it by customer or reviewer or maybe your own user ID. So it all depends on the business process that you have in place. And then in Billing WorkCenter, one of the question was to export the data. So this is the icon that is available for this pagelet. So if you want to download, this is where you go and click and it will download the data for you.
Somebody was happy about that.
And then moving on to the next pagelet, open items. As you see, this has been defaulted at the business unit level, just like you have seen in the Billing WorkCenter for the open balances. It is the same over here as well, but it is at the item level. Let me just quickly also show you how it looks in the Billing WorkCenter. So what I just did is I opened up a new window by clicking on the three dots. So here I have saved my filters based on the bill source, which is why I see 134 rows by miscellaneous bills. And if I do the same over here, and if I limit it here at the item level, we don't have a bill source. So you'll be going with the begins with option. And you see it is the same 134 rows here as well. So the only difference would be that if you want the billing specialist to look at this data, you have to do it at the Billing WorkCenter level. And if you have to look at the open items list, then this is the place where you go, either the collector or any other criteria you can limit it to. You have varieties of filters available, so you could choose any of those options. So in your earlier question, you asked about the collector, right? So this is the filter for the collector code. You could definitely go with the collector code to limit your view. So next is maintenance worksheets. So here the list it displayed are the list of open maintenance worksheets that needs to be posted. So this particular item will be visible to those AR supervisors for them to set it to batch standard.
Shrivanti, Nicole has a question for you.
Yes, Nicole.
Hi, yes, actually on this worksheet and on the open items worksheet, I'm seeing a bunch of detail tabs on the top. Could you walk through those real quickly, just so we can kind of understand what all these details are at our disposal?
Sure.
Thank you.
You'll see different columns for on each detail tabs. And you also wanted to look at open items.
Yeah,
Right.
especially open items, since it looked like there were about 10 of them.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you to piggyback to that. Now, the way this is situated, we can actually do, can we do like a set to ready from this screen if we select the item and
Yes. So you see this little arrow
Mhm.
will open up that particular item. Yeah, I should have mentioned this. So this would open up a page and you can directly take action on that page, just like how you do today. It is the same page that opens up and you will be able to perform any action that you want to take.
Okay.
Yeah, and
And
once you
can you hit the filters again? I'm sorry.
sure. Temporary filters, right?
Yeah. And can you scroll down? Okay, yeah, you do have collection code there. Okay. And collection code should be the collection status, correct?
No, collection code is not the collection status. It is the collector code itself.
Let me see what that is. Oh, yeah, yeah, that's what we call status. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, are you good here?
So,
Okay.
so just to ask, when we are creating our job aids, and again, we create them and you all are current only user of this full functionality. But a question to you is, does it make sense for us to point that out in our job aids? Or is that something that you all would want to cover for collection code as the primary way of filtering?
I mean, terminology, I think if y'all provide a page to say maybe collection code equals collection status to kind of encompass all people speaking the same language, it's hard for us to kind of get everybody on the same page with that. I mean, each district even talk differently. It's hard to get it there. Yeah.
But you're thinking that that would be your primary way of filtering on these open items?
Yeah, and as long as we keep the language intrinsic to the application itself, then I think they should be fine.
Okay.
I mean, because like if Savante hit back on that, open it up. No, not the filters, the item that you had opened up before. Yep. Yeah. So I can see why y'all said collection code.
Mhm.
And as long as we keep the job aid, in line with what they're going to see on the application, I think we should be fine with the terminology.
I guess something that we can also point out is that this is real-time data. However, it's also it will be real-time data when we deploy it. However, our current test environment is a cut from last September.
Okay.
So the data that's out here, as you can see, like some of this is old stale data that also may just need to be cleaned up in production. So for instance, this one, right, it's a little bit old with a accounting period of 2002.
2002.
Yep. Yeah. So there might be an effort that we could take to also do some cleanup, because it might be beneficial. Then you won't have such a big number in that open items. But I think you can also, in this filter at least, I did see accounting date as a filter. So that is something maybe that if you wanted to, you could keep it within the current fiscal year.
Yeah, that might, I don't know. We still have things that's out there. And I would assume, and Nicole, correct me if I'm wrong, something from 2002 is pre-Cardinal, correct?
Great, yeah.
That is correct, but that particular item in question right now is, I mean, it's real, it's legit, it needs to be there.
Okay.
But I think the point as far as as far as general cleanup for some of these other legacy issues is well taken.
Yeah.
But it does raise awareness, so that's positive.
No, it's not. It's more work. No, I'm just playing.
It's always been there. It's just now easier to see.
Yeah. No longer can we ignore it.
Exactly. But while we have the screen up, would you mind just flipping through the other detail tabs real quickly, just so we can all kind of get an understanding of what all this stuff looks like? Thanks.
Would it be helpful to do an extract and send it to you all so you could see what's included? We can certainly do that.
I think, and Sean, that export will export all the details.
Yes,
right?
yes, it would.
So that exports, that little download guy up in the right.
Yeah.
Will do the all tabs.
That's fine in the interest of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So any questions with the maintenance worksheets?
No.
So moving on to next section related to payments, you also have a page that will show incomplete payments. What that means is if you have created a payment worksheet and if you have not applied it, so that would be the list. And going back to the same data cleanup thing, so you will see a lot of bad data here. Even in production, you see the worksheets that have been created in the past and has been left unattended. So probably something to look at as part of our data cleanup activity, if you don't want this to be part of your display. And then the next one is payments to post. If there are any payments that you have applied and is not posted, that's when it is for the supervisor basically to set the posting action to batch standard. So I have heard from Jane multiple times that it will be a specialist who will be creating the worksheet, and then it is a business process that supervisor will review before setting the posting action to batch standard. So this is something, this is a good view for the supervisors to perform action right from the work center. And then next one is direct journals to complete. So the next two pages are related to the direct journals itself. As I mentioned earlier, this will be visible only for the fund receipt users. So anybody working on direct journals will be shown the list of direct journals to complete if they have keyed in direct journals and it is not set to complete. So this is the page that shows the list of direct journals. And then as mentioned with the other pagelets, you can take action by clicking on more. And then once you set it to complete, you will no more see that direct journals here. So as I told you earlier, the counter next to the page gets dropped after you click on this refresh button. And then you see the complete section. It took me back to the billing work center. So
Hey, Shivanti, can I ask one real quick
Sure.
question first? Will the tab names always be detail 1,
Yes.
detail 2?
yes,
They will always be detail 1, detail 2.
I think
Can they be modified?
I don't know if you can modify it, but that's,
so that is the grid property, like even today, right? If you have multiple fields on a grid, that is how it will separate the tabs with those names.
So we don't have a plan to change those. They're going to stay detail 1, detail 2. Okay, Teresa is asked. Thank you.
So if you see, since I have marked the direct journal to complete, I am not seeing any other journals here because the earlier counter was 1, and now that I have completed it, I don't see anything else here. And then the next one is direct journals to budget check. So if you have completed a direct journal and that is pending a budget check, so this list will comprise of all those journals that is pending budget check. The next section is exceptions. The first one in the list is posting errors. It could be any posting error. So we have these batch processes, right? That process the bills, AR update, which process the payment and whatnot. So any errors related to the batch processes will be listed here. I know, Lashan, you ping me during the month and asking about certain bills and items that are in error. So probably I hope you will be running some reports to get that list, but then with the work center, you will be getting to know about all these errors ahead of time so that you can create help desk tickets as and when needed and get this fixed before the month end.
Awesome. So I don't have to run that stuff anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Hopefully, yeah. So the next one is direct journal budget exceptions. If there are any budget check errors, when you process the budget check on a direct journal, that is the list you will see here. Now that we don't have any budget exceptions, I'm not seeing anything for this particular page. Okay, that covers my work section. Now moving on to links. So as I mentioned earlier, we have identified the commonly used pages based on your business process. We have created folders and then flagged the pages based on the business process. In the first category, it is enter and apply payments. Anything related to the payments are grouped within that folder. And the next one is review and maintain items. Anything related to the items, maintenance worksheet, view update item details are grouped into review and maintain items. And the next, the last section in the links is customer and correspondence. Anything related to customer pages are grouped within customer and correspondence. And the last one is other links. Even this one is part of the link section. Here we have added process monitor and report manager for you to check any of the processes, or if you want to pull any report, you can pull it directly from here. So as Jen showed, you can collapse and expand the sections based on what you want to do. The next one in the list is queries. In this section, you will be seeing the most commonly used queries within AR module. And for some reason, if you want to query on a different query, we have this query viewer available. And you will be able to pull any query from here, just like you do today. You don't have to shift or change your screen or navigate to a different page to pull up a query. And last but not the least is the reports and processes section. We have included the commonly used AR reports that we could think of, and you will be able to run the reports from this section itself. So that concludes the demo of Accounts Receivable WorkCenter. Let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, I guess we're ready to switch gears and go over our final work center, which is procurement.
Okay, sure. Next, we will move on to Procurement WorkCenter. Okay, so just like we have seen with other work centers, Procurement WorkCenter can be accessed by procurement users, which includes requisitioners, buyers, approvers, sources, and people who are responsible in creating contracts. And they will be able to utilize WorkCenter to perform multiple activities in one stop shop. So just like what other WorkCenter offers, the same is applicable to Procurement WorkCenter. The only difference you would see is my approval section. So this is something different in Procurement WorkCenter, because with other modules we are not dealing with any approvals. But in procurement world, we are working on requisition approvals and purchase order approvals. So any users with appropriate approval roles will be able to see this section within the work center. I'm not going to spend too much time explaining each section. We can take a look into it when I do the live demonstration. So in Procurement Work Center, we have only one My Work pagelet available, and that is related to P cards, and this one is available only for the P card users who have a supervisor role, and they will be able to approve the P cards from this page itself. And the Procurement Work Center also has the similar features as we explained in other work centers, where the counts gets refreshed and the smart filtering options. It is the same again. We have two options to filter data on. One from the default filters where it will be saved for your user ID, and other from the temporary filters. Let's get into the live environment to look at the Procurement Work Center. So going on to Procurement Work Center, starting with My Work section. As you have seen, there is one My Work page available on Procurement Work Center, and this is related to reconcile PCAD statements. As I mentioned earlier, this section is available only to the PCAD supervisors for them to take action. So this particular page would replace the existing custom functionality, which is displayed on the Cardinal homepage for the supervisors. So with this coming into picture, you will not be accessing that to approve the reconciled PCADs. So this is the place where you have to come and take action on the transactions that are awaiting approvals. So here you see 200 assigned to supervise the test user that I have selected. And then if you want to filter based on card number, you could do that. You could also filter by employee ID. And if you are ISSP supervisor, you have the ability to filter based on the merchant by providing the merchant name. Okay, so for ISSP transactions, I am filtering by ManCon. So you will be able to see the list for the ManCon related transactions. So if you see the rows here is 148. The reason why the counter here is not updated is because I did not use my preset filters to set the filters. So that's the reason why it did not get updated. If you had added your filters by going in here, then you would have seen that getting defaulted on the view itself. Okay, you see that the count got updated because I had set the filters at my default level, and that's why you see the difference in the count. Okay, and if you have to take action on any of the transaction, you have to click on the little arrow in the more column. So this will open up a new page and take you to the statement itself. And you will be able to set the status to approved and save the particular transaction. So that completes my work section. Moving on to my approvals, you will see anything that is pending action on any of the approval. So if you have the ability to approve a requisition, you will see a line item for requisition, and you will be able to approve the pending transactions from here for that requisition. And similar to requisition, we have approvals on purchase orders. So currently you are seeing two that are pending approval. So we'll be able to select the transaction you wanted to approve, and that will clear the pending approvals section. And the next one you see is delegation of authority. This is again a cool feature in the upgraded system. So this one is not yet built. So the delegation feature gives you the ability to reassign any of your workflow items to a different approver whenever you are going on a vacation or whenever you are planning to reassign your authority to other approvers. And this is going to replace the existing functionality where you go and set the alternate user ID at the system profile level. Like if you want to route your transactions to any particular user ID, you have the ability to do that by going into my system profile and providing the alternate user ID. With the delegation coming into picture, you don't have to do that anymore. You can use the delegation feature by doing that, but more to come on that functionality. Training team is preparing materials to elaborate on that functionality. So yeah, please look forward to it. So coming to links, the first one in the list is my work list. So the reason we added my work list here is with the fluid framework coming into picture, you will not be able to see or access my work list like you used to do before or currently the way you perform looking at the work list and approving transactions. So since my approval section will take care of the requisitions and purchase orders, there is no way where you can get the alerts related to the contracts for contract thresholds and contract spend thresholds. That's the reason why we added my work list here to take action on any of the contract thresholds or contract spend thresholds. And the next one, folder that we have created is for the requisitions. So we have, just like you have seen in the accounts receivable WorkCenter, we have grouped all the pages based on the business process, and you will be able to access based on the existing security, and then based on the business process, you will be able to expand each folders and complete a transaction. Or if you want to key in anything specific, you can just go at the folder level, and like you do it today, you can directly do it from the WorkCenter. So we have folders created for the requisitions, sourcing, procurement contracts, purchase orders, receipts, items, and lastly, other links will give you the ability to track any processes from process monitor and pull any reports from report manager. Like as Julie mentioned and Dana mentioned, that we have grouped all the pages that we could think of. But if you feel that anything is missing from the list, please feel free to populate the survey and provide your feedback. Just like you have seen in other work centers, we have this query section available in Procurement WorkCenter. So we have grouped the queries based on sourcing, contracts, and VCUTs. So you'll be able to see all the queries. If you need to query on a different one, then obviously you can go to the query viewer and pull up the query you want. Similar to queries, reports and processes section, we have included all the commonly used reports, and that is also grouped based on each business process. So you will just have to expand the folders in order to pull up any of the reports that you want. That's the end of Procurement WorkCenter demo. I'm excited to see how these WorkCenter features will change your work style, and I'm sure you're also looking forward to using them. And I would like to thank the VDOT teams for attending this session and listening in, and as well as my own team members for the incredible support. And my special thanks to Jens and Vijay, who have been working behind the scenes in creating the test users and setting it up for today's presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shrivanti. Okay, we have a Menti for you. You've just seen 5 different work centers, and we are very interested in which work center feature you think will be the most helpful to users. And of course, we put up there for your reference a reminder of what each of them is used for, remembering that my work is basically your to-do list. My approvals shows your pending transactions that need a user's approval. Links, which are direct navigation to pages. Queries, and then reports and processes, both of which are really the list of the most frequently used in each of those categories. So it's looking so far that folks are really appreciative of the links. Okay, my work's getting a nod. Very interesting. It's a pretty good split there. Very interesting. Well, certainly more to come on that. We have some fabulous new training materials coming out that will help you with this new feature. Okay, so just to give you a preview of what's going on over the next few months, we will be revamping, as we've mentioned several times today, pretty much all of our training materials. You can imagine with 1,400 enhancements and this move to fluid, we have a lot of work to do on all of our training materials. And this includes our instructor-led training, our web-based training, our job aids, and our videos. And we'll also be developing some relevant communications to prepare our users for the upcoming changes. Then over the summer, we're going to be conducting a number of forums to introduce new features to the larger Cardinal community. And generally speaking, these will be by module. And as we mentioned earlier, we have go live planned for early September 2026, as shown by our little celebratory bird. And then after go live, we'll hold a number of additional forums as needed to address any hot topics or provide clarifications on what's been rolled out. And, that'll be based on maybe user tickets or other questions that we're getting from our agency customers. Okay, before we wrap up, I'm going to put in one last plug for the survey. Again, it will be tremendously helpful to us if you can complete it. We've listed all the links, queries, reports for each module in the survey, and it will give you an opportunity to look those over and give us some feedback on any that you think we might have missed. So we would really appreciate you taking the time to do that. And otherwise, we thank you for your attendance, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for attending.
Thanks all.